Welcome to Sticks and Sips, the Drew Estate virtual happy hour. I am Frankie Drakes Moreno. We're going live on time this week. Big episode 11. I'm glad you're back and you're joining us. For all of you guys jumping into the Facebook Live, this is our big show 11, man. 11 weeks where my Wednesday night is made up of hanging with you guys and some people in the Zoom lounge, which I don't want to refer to right now, but we're going to talk about them very shortly. So this is a happy hour. So what's on the menu tonight? We got to start off with a cocktail, and I've got something called the Envious Smash, which I'll get to in a minute. And I'm super excited with our two special guests tonight. I've got Mr. Kyle Henderson from Angel's Envy and Mr. Nick Douglas from The Party Source. So we're going to jump in with those guys a little bit. And our sips are Angel's Envy. What a great night we're going to have with that beautiful whiskey and with this lovely little piece. We've got the Undercrown sun-grown Dojo Dogma just released, and we're featuring it tonight as our pairing cigar. So we're super excited. We also have a big giveaway. We're giving away these Zycar Pappy Van Winkle cutters. These things are amazing, fantastic. They've got Pappy on them. You know, you can see them right there. If I can just hold it just right. And we're giving away these 5 cutters tonight for anyone who answers or who asks a question, hashtag Ask Frankie Drinks. And if we choose your question, you're a winner. So with that, let's get the party started. This is a big evening. So let me do a little quick check into the Zoom lounge and let's see who's hanging out with us tonight. All right. So first up, Mr. Kyle Henderson, welcome to Sticks and Sips.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We are doing awesome. Thank you for being on with us.
Absolutely. It's an excuse to sit on my deck and smoke a cigar like I do pretty much every night anyway. So
we call that sticking and sipping. So start using the terminology.
Perfect. I can do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Kyle. Oh, we got Josh Roque, brand manager from Drew Estate in the house. What's going on, Josh?
How you guys doing? It's exciting to be here again. Oh, you want me to be at 3, huh?
Yeah, get to a 3, Josh. Come on. A little bit more excited. Come on.
It's just not going to happen.
All right.
I'm cool, calm, and collected.
Well, we know it's hot outside, so it's hard to get it going, but we can get some drinks in there, drinks into Josh and a couple more cigars, and we should be ready to party. Let's see. We got Mr. Joey Drew in the house, creative director.
Got it, man. What's up? I am so ready.
Are you ready?
Got my little cup, got the right stick.
It's only been a week since the last time we were hanging out. So welcome back.
I wouldn't miss it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And next up, we got Mr. Nick Douglas from The Party Source.
Hello, sir.
What's going on, man? Those are some really handsome knuckles. I'm just going to say that right now.
Sorry about that. I'm enjoying this delicious Year of the Rat. My hand was in the way.
Oh, so you're slumming it tonight.
Sipping and doing some back porch sitting. Absolutely.
All right, there we go. The man's sticking, sipping, and sitting. He's got the terminology down. So thank you, Nick. So welcome to the Zoom Lounge. And then last but not least, founder of Drew Estate, Mr. Jonathan Drew from the Wynwood Safe House, if I do say so.
What's up, Frank? How you doing?
What's happening? I'm doing well.
Chilling, man. You know what? It's interesting because every week we're like, we got a great show and I'm fucking excited. And sometimes some of our guests, I know them pretty well. Sometimes I know them very well. Sometimes they're new. So it's always some type of, good vibe, good energy. Tonight, we have one of the guys that you actually have, one of the guests tonight who I've known for a long time, and who I consider a really good friend. And we've partied together, we've done events together, and he's definitely extended family. So from Kyle, on the Kyle Henderson side, it's cool to have family back with us. And on the Nick side, it's great to finally get to know this guy a little bit over here. I've heard a lot of, and I might have met here there, but we have a lot of mutual friends actually. So I was thrilled to hear that you joined us for tonight. So welcome and looking forward to it.
Appreciate you having me.
All right, so Zoom loungers, just stick around here because we're, we're gonna have our happy hour cocktails. So, so I decided, what am I gonna make tonight? So I'm gonna go back and make something super, super delicious. It's summer, it's hot, pretty much where everyone's at. And I said, let me make something cool and refreshing. So I came up with a cocktail called the Envious Smash, and basically it's an ounce of the Angel's Envy bourbon, an ounce of the Angel's Envy rye, a little bit of lemon, some mint, and let's throw directions on there so everybody can take a look at what I had to do. I just combined everything in a shaker, shake everything till it's really well chilled. You want to strain it onto some fresh ice, and you want to dress it up with a little bit of mint. And let's roll that video so everybody can see how to make it. So this cocktail goes back to like 1862. Jerry Thomas it's in the Bon Vivant's guide. So I'm using an ounce of each. I wanted to make sure I get a little bit of the balance between both of these great whiskeys. And usually you want to like muddle a lemon wedge, and then you want to muddle some blackberries. But that stuff, then you got to double strain it. So I just use like seedless preserves, real great shortcut. You want to get some mint in there, and then you want to shake everything up. Really nice and delicious, and part of this cocktail is the fruit aspect. So and anything that's a smash basically has got a sugar element, a mint element, whiskey element, and whatever the fresh fruit in season is. So that's your Envious Smash. So whatever double entendre you want to use, but there it is, and it's delicious. Refreshing, tart, really great pairing for the Dogma, and we're featuring tonight. So, as you guys are grabbing your cocktail and you're taking a little sip and enjoying this evening, I want to welcome my very first guest. He is, as JD said, he's family. He's a guy that's been part of us with Barn Smokers and going way back with the entire Drew Estate crew. His official title is the production manager at Angel's Envy, and he has an envious job, so he works directly making sure these lovely products get to you guys. And if you've watched Angel's Envy over the years, you realize how amazing these products are. So I'm not going to talk anymore about it. I'm going to let Mr. Kyle Henderson talk about it. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm mixing up my cocktail here too.
Hey, so what are you making?
I am making a Boulevardier.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
So fancy.
Three ingredients, easy.
There you go. Nice and easy. So for everybody out there, Boulevardier, basically it's equal parts. I actually like to go a little bit heavier on the whiskey. That's just me. So I'll do 1.5 to 2, and then you want to do 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, and it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic aperitif cocktail or digestif. They both work fantastic. So Kyle, tell everybody a little bit about Kyle Henderson. You've got a famous last name, so we kind of got to tie it into some whiskey heritage. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about that?
Sure. So my grandfather, Lincoln Henderson, he started working at Brown-Forman in 1966. So what is that, 54 years ago, whatever that is. He ended up working there for about 40 years as a grain chemist, moved his way up the chain, eventually became their master distiller. And he actually started a few brands for them. A couple of them you may have heard of. Woodford Reserve, he started that distillery for them, that brand. Gentleman Jack, the super premium Jack Daniels variant, worked on that. And he retired in 2004, 2005. My dad had been in and out of the business with him a little bit. Obviously, that's a very large company. They didn't really work with each other. 2008, my dad, kind of got this crazy idea of, hey, let's start our own brand. So my grandfather had retired from Brown-Forman, from Woodford. He actually went to work for Suntory and helped bring Yamazaki to the United States. He had a really good partnership with Suntory while he was at Brown-Forman, brought some of their higher end Japanese stuff to the US. While he was doing that, he and my dad were starting this company. And he was in bourbon for a long time, and we didn't want to just do another bourbon. So we wanted to take something and really make it unique. So we took an idea that he had. My dad said, hey, is there anything you wanted to do while you were at Brown-Forman, just couldn't get off the ground, or, it didn't work out for whatever reason? And really what they came up with was a secondary finish. So at the time, my grandfather was the master distiller. Brown-Forman also owned Glenmorangie Scotch. And if you guys are familiar with Glenmorangie, they are very well known for not just their double barrel, multiple types of barrel finishing, but for really advertising it, talking about it, and telling people what different flavors and aromas and characteristics the different barrels will give. This is always common in Scotch, but it wasn't really talked about. So he actually brought that idea to American whiskey. So we took an aged bourbon whiskey, 4 to 5, 6 years old bourbon, white charred American oak, just like any other bourbon out there. And we put it into a used port wine barrel. And I'm glad you actually picked a Smash as a cocktail for tonight, because that port wine really is accentuated by the fruits and the acids from the citrus in there. And I like the cocktail. I just didn't have any fruit here. My daughter ate it all. But so yeah, back to the story a little bit. So I came on board in 2010 when we first launched the production aspect of the brand. We first filled our first finishing barrel, our port barrel. So that was August 19th of 2010. So I'm coming up in a couple months on 10 years with Angel's Envy, and done different things. My grandfather passed away in 2013. So I got to work with him for about 3 years. And obviously with my dad, he's our CIO, the Chief Innovation Officer, directs all of the direction for the company, where we're going to go. I've moved into different roles. I was in charge of our co-packer and our bottling, became a bottling and blending manager. I'm also the company blender, the plant blender. So I do all of the profiles, all of our new products. I'm in charge of making sure it meets the expectations that we've set out for it. I'm also the distillery production manager. So in our new distillery in the middle of downtown Louisville, which we're going to go on a slight tangent here, don't ever build a distillery in the middle of an urban environment. It was the stupidest idea we've ever done. Great for tourism, but if you want to operate a manufacturing facility that runs 360 days a year, terrible idea. But so we opened that new distillery about 4 years ago now, in 2016. So we bring in raw material, corn, malt, rye, yeast, water. We're going to mill it, cook it, ferment it, distill it. We don't age it on site, because having, a couple 100,000 barrels, millions of gallons of flammable alcohol in the middle of a 1 million person city is a terrible idea. So we send them out of the city to age, bring it back, do the finishing. We blend it, package it there. And we also give a lot of tours there as well. So we have about 100,000 people a year come through and really learn about our brand. And I think what's, really cool about how we're doing things is, I still work with my dad. I am also the oldest of 6 boys. So I have 5 younger brothers, and 3 of my 5 younger brothers work for me either directly or indirectly, with the different roles and things. So getting to work with family is hugely important. We were talking earlier, Father's Day just happened 3 or 4 days ago. For our family and for our brand, it's very pivotal, because we're one of the few brands that have multiple generations that have worked together, and one of the few that still have 2 working actively together, which is cool. So Father's Day, big event for us. So that's kind of me in a nutshell there.
Yeah, that you put it quite concisely there, and you kind of squeezed it in, because there's so many stories in regards to Angel's Envy. But I know Father's Day had just passed, and you guys taken an amazing photo op all the time, and you put it up there, and you've got I go man, Wes has got 100 kids, because it's
just 6 of us, just 6.
It's just 6, it's it could be 6, it could be 5,000, but it definitely looks like a wonderful legacy that Angel's Envy is building out there. I've seen pictures. I haven't had the opportunity to make it out to the distillery, but the distillery looks beautiful and amazing. And I credit you for building something in the middle of a metropolitan area. So congrats on that, because that's a challenge within itself.
It's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but bringing in 15 to 20 semi trucks a day is not the easiest when you're literally on Main Street in Louisville.
So,
but it's a great location.
It is a good location from a brand perspective. Yes.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. So,
Was that a 3?
You're welcome. That's a 3. That's a 3.
It's a 3. It's okay. I'll accept it. Thank you. All right. So actually, for everyone that's watching out there, let's talk a little bit about what we mean by finishing, because I think just understanding what that means for whiskey, it's worth just really going over it. As I've got the bourbon here, which is finished in the port wine, and the port wine, not by intention. You guys have a great cocktails. If you guys go on the Angels Envy website, they've got great cocktails on there, and the cocktail they serve at the distillery has a little port wine reduction that they float at the top. That's a fantastic thing. I wasn't going to do any port wine reduction floaters on the show here.
It's okay.
So congrats. I forgot the name of the bartender that did the cocktail for you, but he did an amazing job. But same concept as you're trying to get those unctuous flavors. You're trying to layer, flavor upon flavor. So talk about the role of finishing, because I think that's what makes Angels Envy distinctive is that finishing process. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
Well, so in order to understand finishing, you have to kind of go back and explain what the initial age, the initial maturation is. So bourbon whiskey has to be made from at least 50% corn. It has to be made in the United States, not Kentucky, where 95% of it's made in Kentucky and all of the good bourbon's made in Kentucky, but it can be made anywhere in the US. It has to be distilled at no higher than 80% alcohol, 160 proof. It has to go into a new charred oak container. So unused, lit on fire, so it's got carbon and char on it, and it has to be unused. It doesn't have to be a barrel. It just says container, but practically everybody uses a barrel. As soon as it touches that wood, it is bourbon immediately. Most of the bourbon that you'll drink on the shelf is at least 4 years old, because if it's older than 4, nobody has to tell you how old it is. If it's younger than 4, they have to tell you exactly how old it is, 36 days, 36 months, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it into the bottle, when you put it into the barrel, it can't be above 125 proof. That's 62.5% alcohol. And when you put it into the bottle after aging, it can't be below 80 proof, 40% alcohol. Last thing, you can't add any flavorings or colorings. And that's bourbon. So we take corn, 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malt. We ferment it, we distill it, we age it in a number 3 charred, heavily toasted barrel for 5 or 6 years. And that's where most companies stop. There's nothing wrong with that. My grandfather made literally a significant portion of his life and his career was making, that traditional bourbon. But we felt that there was something that could have been added, and not as in a flavoring added, but as in depth and character. And so we selected that port wine barrel. It's a fortified dessert Portuguese wine. They come from Oporto in the Douro Valley region of Portugal. And we selected those barrels. We put our whiskey in after the initial aging of 5 or 6 years. We go into that used port wine barrel for 6 months. That 6 months is going to imbue a little bit of that color, that red amber note that you may see in the bourbon that you don't typically see from the port. And it's going to bring a lot of fruit to the party. So typically you'll get some fruits from the esters during fermentation, but not always forward. A lot more oak, a lot more vanillin, caramels, butterscotches, things you'll normally get from a bourbon. The port wine brings dried fruits, strawberries, cherries, raisins, things like that to the forefront. But we wanted to be very careful. We didn't want to make the whiskey taste like it was port flavored, because there are other companies that are doing that. They're adding port wine to the whiskey, and it gives you some of the same characters, but you lose mouthfeel, you lose viscosity. So we wanted to bring some of those notes by doing this finishing process, and it's basically a secondary aging, but it's very short. So in our case, 6 months. Scotland, like I said before, has been doing it a very long time. They'll age in used bourbon barrels, and they'll age in used sherry barrels and used port barrels and Madeira, whatever it may be. But we were one of the first ones to bring this successfully in a commercial fashion to American whiskey. And one of our mottos is, it's not perfect until it's finished. For two reasons. One, everything we do is finished. Every package we've ever released and ever planned to release for Angel's Envy goes into a secondary barrel for finishing. And two, like I said, we felt that there could have been something added to the traditional bourbon, and we do that by a finish. So it wasn't perfect till we finished it.
Well, that's so I hope everybody out there kind of understands what happens, especially if we have a lot of Scotch drinkers out there too,
Yep.
and they're so used to that already, they probably didn't know that that's pretty standard procedure. So when you get an Angel's Envy, you kind of understand that extra flavoring, that extra layer of complexity is that extra finish. So and then I've also got the rye is here as well, which is one of my favorites because you got the rye finished in Caribbean rum barrels. So that's just a beautiful combination.
I know Jonathan likes this one. He's amazing. He's going to perk up in a minute.
I was just texting about something though that you said.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I'll have to look at my phone. Let me see. What do you say?
So for everybody out there that loves rye or is getting into rye right now, pick up a bottle because this has such a wonderful complexity with that rum cask finish. You get this beautiful, I call it creme brulee, that you get right off the nose, and then once it's in the mouth, it really starts interacting. You're picking up, like chocolate flavors and flavors that pair exceptionally well with a cigar. Some ryes can be very high on the spice meter, so you have to pick a cigar that that equals
one
the intensity.
dimensional.
Right.
So I mean, one of the reasons we selected the rum finish for the rye was because we felt while rye's always been very good, it's usually just that woody and spicy, pretty one-dimensional. Not always, but that's kind of what people expect from it. So unlike the port finish where the port is complementing the bourbon, we wanted to do a finish that almost competed isn't the right word, but balance that out. So you get both the sweet and the spice. So that's a very long finish. So the rye is aged in the new barrel, the new charred barrel, for about 7 years. And then it spends 18 months, so a year and a half, in that Caribbean French oak barrel. So that barrel is actually really unique. It starts its life as a cognac barrel in France for Pierre Ferrand cognac. And then it travels down to Barbados to be aged for plantation rum. And then we get those barrels. So you get the molasses, butterscotch, ginger, a little bit of the wine notes from the cognac that we finish this rye whiskey in. So you've got this really sweet, almost like you said, creme brulee, mapley syrup, chocolatey note with the spice from the rye. And it kind of gives you a really cool roller coaster of sweet and spice. And like you said, it pairs excellently with a nice cigar because you have a really cool portfolio, aroma and profile to play with. So you'll pick up different things depending on what you're smoking, which we always find fun.
I think it's fantastic, and knowing what's his last name, Gabriel from Pierre Ferrand. He's it'll come to me in a second, but he's fanatical about the wood that he uses for his cognac barrels, and just fanatical about it. And so you could imagine the road from cognac to rum to rye. And that's just an amazing. I think it's an amazing product. I think everybody should pick one up, especially if they're a cigar guy. So,
Well, yo,
all right.
hang on a second.
No, you hang on a second. This is a no hijack show.
What the fuck does that shit mean? Someone needs to explain this no hijack bullshit. I don't even know if it's directed to me.
No, it could be.
Suspect at minimum. So. I mean, Kyle, I got a problem.
I'm listening.
You understand? I got 199 problems, and this is one of them.
I'm pretty
just
sure that's
texted you his
123
address.
proof, actually. So 123 proof.
Well, this is a different problem, I think, than you may realize. So, Frank, I don't think you actually know this. When the rye first came out, prior to the rye, to Angel Envy rye coming out, I was in Kentucky, and I was looking at buying this little condo right 2 blocks from the distillery. And I remember before the rye came out, Kyle was like, we went in the middle of the night up to Angel's Envy.
It was late.
It was very late, and he pulled out. There was 4 of us, including Kyle, and he gave us each a bottle of the rye that night. And it was a very memorable evening, and that really was great. And that was my first experience of having the rye. Not just a great and I think a historic product in the world of rye, in my opinion, but the way we shared it that night and us being together in, an investment mode. And you guys were like, don't buy that fucking, it's too expensive. And you're going on and on. It was a really like an emotional, because I was ready to just buy this thing. And because I was spending so much time in Kentucky and I was really considering moving there. And that was kind of like part of it and stuff. So when Kyle held up that bottle, I still have that first bottle.
Nice.
Right. So no matter how many bottles I've gone through here alone or with guests and friends, I've always kept that very first bottle that we had shared in Kentucky.
And that's important. That first bottle, we actually changed the label after that first run. So now if you look at it, it's got green labels, green side label, pretty standard on the front. So JD, your bottle probably has yellow or gold labels, and like your cask strength, it should have a gold foil on the front. We only did about, I want to say 2,000 bottles of that. So not only was it, early before the release, but it's a package that we never reproduced after that.
Frank, that's another one. When they did the cask strength, also before that one went live, I was doing an event up with Jeff up in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And Kyle was like, listen, dude, there's a handful of these bottles that we're drinking here. It still hadn't come out yet. And we did damage that night. I don't recall.
Not we. You drank the entire bottle yourself. And I just want to point out, so that was, I think, late 2012. We only made 600 bottles of cask that year. It was 2 barrels, and we didn't think it was going to do it. We just wanted to release it and see how it did. So yeah, we drank a bottle, and my dad and I are giving it away, having a lot of fun. We didn't know if it would do well. The next year, Paul Pacult, who's an independent spirits writer, he named it the number one spirit in the entire world for that year. So not the number one whiskey, not the number one bourbon, the number one spirit in the entire world. He said it's the best thing he had the entire year. And you demolished a bottle in about 6 hours.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting evening after we had split apart that night, us and the crew and whatnot. I felt very lonely, and it was just it was quite an experience after drinking. I don't suggest anybody drinks a whole bottle.
No.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
Moderation.
So, I don't want to get accused of it. So, Frank, what's the story?
Well, the story is that people are drinking some real exclusive shit, and I've got like nothing,
I see 2 bottles there.
So, and they shall remain these 2, and these 2 are mine. You may find your own, but I'm enjoying these, and Kyle, what's first of all, I want to say on my behalf, say hello to your dad, because I've run into your dad at Tales of the Cocktail all the time, and I've always got like Drew sticks on me, so I always hit him with a couple, and he always looks at me like, oh, you're the John guy.
God, yeah.
So
he gives them to me.
So he's like, oh, I'll take them. Thank you. And so he's always very gracious with us, and he's obviously, as you call him, the CIO, Chief Innovation Officer but for Angel's Envy, he represents you guys. He does such an amazing job, and he's left you guys with an amazing legacy. So what's new? What's new on the horizon that we can expect from Angel's Envy?
Let me turn to my PR person here. Oh, what? We're not supposed to talk about that yet? Oh, man. What a shame.
Well, that means we're going to have you back on a future show.
Yeah.
So
yeah. How about this? After August, middle of August, maybe. Mm-hmm.
That sounds doable. Let me check with my production staff.
That's good.
Yo, listen,
I've got the thumbs up.
Kyle is like super high level guest. I mean, this guy's like, I don't know, Frank, but you would have to consider even the Zoom lounge style of contingencies if necessary on any given evening.
Listen, if any future guests, if you get bumped, it happens. It's
Does happen.
we're not going to blame Kyle for any reason or any shape or form. But
as far as new stuff, but on a serious note, we currently have 27 different projects ongoing for different finishes, different mash bills, different barrels, things like that. My dad and I, we talked a little bit on one of our Father's Day things with one of the people who are on with us. We've done 35 or 40 different things now. Of those, 2 or 3 of them are awful, absolute garbage. They'll never see the light of day. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the whiskey. Maybe I'll send that to you, Jonathan. You can have some of that.
I'll give it to Frank.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, exclusive garbage. That's all yours, man.
Private label garbage.
We can work on that. But most of the products do very well, but they're not what we expected, so it still may not be released. We've got our port finished bourbon. We have the rye finished in Caribbean rum casks. We have the cask strength version of our port bourbon. And then we have done 2 other releases the last couple of years. We did an Oloroso sherry finished bourbon. So it spent 3 years in an Oloroso sherry cask. So tons of oxidation, raisins and nuts and hazelnuts, things like that. That was 2 years ago. This past year, we did a tawny barrel finish. So it's a different style of port rather than the ruby we normally use. Older whiskey, 10-year-old bourbon, 10-month finish. So yeah, there is other things we're working on, and there's definitely something coming out relatively soonish. For those of you who follow, do you guys have to do label approvals for your cigars? I can't remember if you guys do that, like government approvals and stuff. No, I don't think so. So for spirits and any alcohol, we have to get our label approved by the government before we can sell it. So there's literally people dedicated online that go and search that because it's public record. So anybody who searches that knows kind of what I'm talking about. So we'll have something coming out soonish, and it's gonna be really cool. Like I said, we're coming up on 10 years of the company, of the brand. So we've got a cool project coming.
Well, that's we can't wait. And I'll say amazing work, amazing legacy that you represent, and you do so well with it. We're honored to have you as part of the family here at Drew Estate, and we're honored that we get to drink this stuff all the time. And JD gets to pound bottles of special release stuff that no one ever sees a bottle at a time. So on behalf of JD and the entire Drew Estate, I want to say thank you for being part of Sticks and Sips.
Absolutely.
Because this has been an amazing evening. So I want to say hello to your dad and to your 500 brothers and sisters out there that are just populating the world of Kentucky whiskey. And and I'll see you at the next FSU Miami game, because if that ever happens. But
it probably won't, but sure.
Absolutely. So Kyle, thank you so much for being part of it. And I know we had one slide that I just want to show everybody. Just the beauty of Angel's Envy. Guys, go out there. If you're a bourbon guy, try the bourbon. If you're a rye guy, try the rye. But if you want to experiment and you kind of been shying away from rye, this is definitely the Angel's Envy rye finished in Caribbean rum casks. This is definitely the road to go. So give it a shot, give it a try. This stuff is fantastic. So thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Angel's Envy. And next up, our very special guest. We're gonna start talking sticks now. So we've done our sipping. Now it's time to do some sticking. And next up is my man from Party Source in Kentucky. So this is all Kentucky show because we're talking Kentucky whiskey, and now we're gonna talk. Probably one of the most amazing places you can go visit in Kentucky, located in Bellevue, right across the river from Cincinnati. And I've got my man, Nick Douglas from the Party Source. Nick, welcome. All right. Our production staff will eventually unmute you. There we go.
I just figured it out myself, I think.
All right, my
I
man.
didn't
Thank you.
realize I was muted. I was talking to myself the whole time.
So, Nick, thank you so much for being part of Sticks and Sips.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm super excited to have you here. You know, I hear such great things about Party Source, and so I'm going to give you the floor from it and tell us a little bit about Party Source, or a lot if you want.
Oh, let's see where we get. The Party Source, located, like you said, in Bellevue, Kentucky. Literally, if you had a strong enough arm, you could throw a rock from our parking lot into the Ohio River there, right across from Cincinnati. But it's 103,000 square feet of awesome. It's basically Disneyland for adults. It's our tagline is everything but the guests. So literally, if you need liquor, wine, beer, greeting cards, balloons, whatever it is you need, the tablecloth, everything but the guests. That's what we have, including a fantastic selection of cigars. Of course, if the party's good enough, we can supply the guests too, I suppose. But the humidor itself is about 1,000 square feet. We crammed about 3,500 facings into that. A big portion of the middle aisle is dedicated to Drew Estate cigars, of course, and as well as part of what we call our premium room, which is a kind of an offshoot of the main humidor there. We've got another kind of walk-in that's about, 10 by 10, something like that. That's where you'll find all your Liga Privadas, that kind of thing. But the Party Source, we've been around for about 25 years now, and we became an employee-owned company about 6-7 years ago. Ken Lewis, the original owner, actually decided to open New Riff Distilling there in Bellevue, Kentucky, which is producing some fantastic whiskey as well. And he then, because with the 3-tiered system in Kentucky, you can own a retail store and a distillery. So instead of selling to a big company, he had lots of interest. He decided to sell it to the employees. So every full-time every full-time employee, as well as a lot of the part-timers that work enough, you're actually part of the employee ownership group. And it's a fantastic way to give you a little extra motivation to, sell a little bit more, because every sale that you get, that's more money in your own pocket with the profit sharing. It's absolutely fantastic. So, and of course, because of that, I'm going to pour myself just a little bit more of that New Riff, which is literally the distillery is basically in our parking lot. It's a fantastic place to be, fantastic place to work. And from what we understand, for a place that only has one location, by volume of sales, we're actually the highest volume cigar shop in the country for a place that only has one location. So it's ridiculous amount of cigars going out the door every day, especially lately. It has been incredibly busy with all this COVID-19 stuff. Thankfully, in the state of Kentucky, we are an essential business as a liquor store, and we're just fortunate to be located inside of that. I can't imagine what would have happened if we were a standalone cigar shop. A lot of the guys in the area, they could only do curbside to go, that kind of thing. But it's been an absolute crazy few months. At first, it was, we don't know what to expect, so make sure you're conservative in your purchasing, and that went straight to, well, it's not slowing down, to okay, time for trade show orders. So it's been a heck of a ride.
Well, I want to share this with everybody. On the pre-call in right before we got started, as JD's taking a little bite of the orange with a little worm salt there, and a little mezcal. That's
that stuff you gave me.
That stuff's delicious. So we were joking around with Nick. He's like, I've got my trade show order in. I've got all my stuff in. I'm like, well, in that case. So we had some fun with that, but Nick, I would say, first of all, incredible honor to have you on and representing the Party Source, and potentially, just the largest, when you hear 100,000 feet. Now, people don't understand really how big that is. And so tell me, what do you have under? I mean, it's not just the humidor, it's not just the liquor. You guys got like everything.
Absolutely. We have an incredible craft beer selection. We actually have a brewery attached to us in the back. That's Braxton Labs Brewing. They're actually based out of Covington. They have 3 locations, but one of them is inside the Party Source. They're producing a lot of great kind of microbrew kind of stuff, and they call it Braxton Labs because that's where they do all their experimental stuff. So it's, like, okay, we have this great Pilsner, the Czech Pilsner. Let's see what it's like if we age it in this kind of barrel, put it in that kind of thing. So it's actually a really cool process that they're doing with that. But like I said, yeah, even we've got a fantastic balloon counter. I mean, where are you going to go to get all these beautiful, gigantic Mylar balloons for your over the hill parties and all that kind of stuff, graduation, whatever. We sell more Kentucky Derby supplies than you could even possibly imagine, which this year we sold a bunch, then there's no Derby, and now there's going to be a Derby again. So maybe we'll get that twice this year. I don't know. I don't even know how it's going to work. But
I'm more concerned with that over the hill shit you're selling.
Yeah, me too. Don't worry. I'm afraid it's going to happen soon. But yeah, and it's we actually do a lot of events as well. Not right this second, obviously, because of the current situation. But normally every Friday and Saturday, you'll find a whole lot of tasting stations throughout the store. We have a 24 tap growler station that's right outside the humidor, and we actually try to do a cigar pairing with each growler, just so you can kind of, there's a sign right there that tells you what the cigar is. You just come in straight into the humidor right there and grab the cigar that goes with the beer you just got. My desk is actually a little cubicle right outside of the humidor, and it's in the tequila aisle, basically. So I have learned more about tequila just through osmosis over the last 6 years of working there than I ever thought I would. And that George Clooney tequila is not bad, but we've got some stuff that's even better.
So I got to ask then, what's your favorite?
My favorite tequila? You know what I recently purchased was the Oro de Lidia. That Reposado is absolutely fantastic. I think that's finished in cognac barrels or something like that. It's delicious.
All right, so Kyle, you had your segment. Thank you.
Now he's lighting up an A.
Yeah,
so that tells you this show's going to go long.
The show's going to go another hour and 20 minutes, and I know this through science.
So I don't give a fuck what they're saying. Listen, Kyle, I see that name right there. This fucking guy shutting everybody down like he's the enforcer of words.
So
But
to be fair,
the term is called host. Called host.
I have spent a small fortune in Nick's store, so I have contributed to the fund up there a few times. Yeah, and like you said,
I'm sure you and I have crossed paths at some point or another, and I've drank plenty of your whiskey too. My little brother actually reps your whiskey. So
who?
Patrick Hill.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. His mom actually lives right down the street from me right here. So.
All right, we're having a family reunion on Sticks and Sips here.
Wonderful.
It's 6 degrees of separation, and it's awesome to have everybody here.
All Kentucky show. What'd you expect? We're all related some way, right?
Yo, Frank, you're not.
I didn't say that. I'm just gonna let everyone know that didn't come from me. It came from someone else. But Nick. Go ahead, JD. You've got a thought, because I got to ask like a real question to Nick, about like the humidor at Drew Estate.
I was going to say something important.
Okay, let's do this.
I can't believe my eyes about your show. Something's happening.
No,
we have upwards of 4 people watching. That's fantastic.
Fucking thousands. Listen. My father is on watching the show.
Oh, Gary is great.
Yo, Baitfish, what's up, homie? I miss
Fish
you,
in
bro.
the house.
Yo, but he don't like that no more. Now he demands to be called
Acid
Gary.
I think I've read that.
How'd you know, Kyle?
I know everything, Jonathan.
Acid Gary. So Acid Gary, I'm glad you're tuning in, man. I miss you. Stay safe. Lots of love to you, Acid Gary. Goodbye to Baitfish. Hello, Acid Gary. I love it. I love it. Nick, I was going to ask you like a really deep question, you know,
I'm ready.
Before we got like deviated. So, how did you get started with cigars? You know, with the humidor side.
Well, I've always been a fan. I had my first cigar when I was about 19 years old. I was living in Austria at the time, studying, and we were in Munich for a weekend. I saw a little tobacco shop, and I said, let's see what these cigars are all about. I had a 1998 H. Upmann Cuban Corona in the silver tube with the green writing, and pretty much as soon as I lit it up, it was I was hooked. It was absolutely fantastic. And then I just kind of dabbled for a while, and then became a customer at the Party Source actually. And after a couple years of going there, somebody finally said, "Hey, have you ever been to one of our cigar tastings?" Which the Party Source actually hosts, from what we understand, the largest and longest running weekly cigar tasting in the country. It's every Tuesday night. We average about 125 guys. Of course, not right now because of everything that's going on. But, you know, JD's been to a few of our events. We actually had one with him a couple years ago. It was a cold January night, and we still had probably 250 people show up just to shake his hand and buy a box, and it was a fantastic event. But I started going to those events, became friends with the people that worked there, and then I was actually working in the restaurant business in Florida at the time, and I was absolutely miserable. Came home for a weekend for a wedding, and Kevin McKenna, who's now an Oliva rep, actually was the humidor manager at the time. Said he was putting in his 2 weeks, and his assistant manager was taking over. And I said, "Who's taking that job?" So I was ready to move home at the time, and he said, "Well, nobody." I said, "All right, I'll take it." So I interviewed the next day, and 2 days later, I had an offer from the Party Source to be the assistant humidor manager. And now I'm Josh, my predecessor, has left last January, a year and a half ago, and they put me in charge for some reason. So it's been kind of a fun journey. I've learned a lot over the last 6 years, which was kind of funny because I thought I knew a lot going in, but as soon as I had my first day on the job, I realized I didn't know shit. So.
Well, I think it's a fantastic story. I want to give a shout out to our territory manager Mike Yaneza and Jeff Tennell for helping us get you on the show, and you know, and your family, you're always welcome here. You know, and when you said, you know, you were in Florida being miserable, my first thoughts went to like Kyle Henderson, you know, being in college at FSU. So you know, I figured. Right. You know, Florida and miserable basically spells FSU. So anyway,
wait a minute. No. That's
all right. So now we're going to move on to our next segment.
Unacceptable.
Well, in all fairness, Florida wasn't what made me miserable. It was the company that I worked for. It just, you know, the restaurant business wasn't my thing, I think. So.
Listen, yeah. Florida is completely miserable except for the 305, and we'll talk about that later. You know. You know it, Kyle. You know it. Every time you come down here,
I do enjoy myself when I come down south. Yes,
there you go.
I love being surrounded by people from New York.
Listen, that's why we do this, right?
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so with that, so Nick, our featured cigar tonight was the Dojo, the Undercrown sun-grown Dojo Dogma. So this is like brand spanking new. And I know you had yours earlier. So for everyone else, let's throw up that beautiful slide there. Ecuadorian sun-grown wrapper, Connecticut stock cut Habano. We're going heavy on heavy and Nicaraguan filler. It's a medium to full. Everybody's raving a cigar. 5x54. Box pressed beauty. What did you think? Because I know you had it while you were sitting out waiting for the show to come on, right?
It is fantastic. It's kind of like the grown-up version of the regular sun-grown, I guess, if I can. It's just got that certain kind of it factor, I guess, if you will. Which I'm now smoking one of the regular old sun-grown Undercrowns here. You know, I
Let's
ran
not
out.
let's not diminish the old sun-grown. The old
It's
sun-grown.
a delicious smoke. It's got
But
that kind of sweetness and that leathery, but kind of earthy, but kind of, you know, got a little pepper, but not a lot. I mean, it's a well balanced cigar, and I think that the new one just kind of takes it to the next level.
I mean, we're super proud of our relationship with the Dojo Dogma group, and you know, you guys see their label on this, and this is a fantastic. Again, the box pressing of the cigar gives you a completely different experience, and it's just everyone's super excited about this smoke. But I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, you work around your humidor. What are people buying in Kentucky? What Drew Estate stuff are they buying in Kentucky, man? What's your biggest seller?
Well, at this point, we're we're on pace for a very good month right now. We're going to be up quite a bit from last June. We had an incredible Father's Day weekend, so it's one of those things. What's selling best right now? Pretty much everything, and a good problem to have. We just put the new size of the Acid 20 on the shelf today. So that I think is going to be another hot seller for us. Acid has always done extremely well. The one thing that I was surprised on the new sizes of the Undercrown and Undercrown Shade that came out back in, was that January? The little Pequeño size.
The Pequeño,
First of all,
right?
that thing's a flavor bomb. If you haven't smoked that, you got to smoke it. But it's the shade version of that. I can't keep it on the shelf. It's just absolutely just flying out of there. And of course, Liga, like always, has been a big seller for us lately. I actually had a guy today buy 3 boxes of number 9s. I couldn't believe it. So it's just another one of those.
Go ahead, say his name, you know, and we'll hit him up for some sticks.
I wish I knew the guy's name. He's in it once every few months, so I'll ask him next time I see him. But, I was stuck at my desk all day with writing trade show orders that are going to be spread out apparently over about 3 months, depending on what company's what. But you guys were smart with the way you did it. That, you know, get in early. By the time some of these companies get around to it, I'm going to be out of money. So,
well, so that means you're going to get your orders early. And that means if you guys want your the new releases, you got to go see my man Nick Douglas over at Party Source.
Absolutely. From what I understand, I was Mike's first trade show appointment. So I hope that means I'm first in line, because I can't wait to get those Undercrown, Sungrown, Dogma, Dojo. I think I got all the words in there. I told him I wanted 20 boxes. I don't think he's going to send me that many, but you know, that's all right.
Yo, Joey, it's too funny.
I've already got
Dojo Sundog. We call it the Sundog.
You see Joey?
I like that.
Dog superstar right there.
Yo, you
Bang.
see Joey's face. What Homeboy said. He's like, yeah, you know, you guys were smart getting in early. And Joey lit up like a Christmas tree. Like, yeah, I'm gonna run out of. You guys got all the money. What? Joey started smiling.
That's the trick. You got to take all the money.
Yeah, but the better part is seeing your face, because we here in Zoomlandia, we can see your face. You suckers out there can't see shit. What I'm seeing is Joey starts laughing when he's like, he goes, the dude told me it was his first call. You know, that's what he tells everybody.
Salesmanship, baby.
Right.
101.
It was last Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So
All right, I believe that, and I also believe I've never done this before, but with that, you know. Anyway, so with that, Nick, I want to say thank you so much for being part of Sticks and Sips, man. Episode 11, dude. I've been on the air for 11 weeks, man. That's
I can't believe you just now wrote me into it.
Dude.
I almost had 48 hours notice too. It's fantastic.
Yeah, listen. We've been after you for months, you know, but you know, there's layers, you know, there's hurdles we have to get through to reach you guys. So, so glad that you were on, man. So glad that you were on, and don't go anywhere, because you know we're gonna come back, because I've got to give out these amazing cutters, and nobody in the Zoom lounge is allowed to win. That's part of our terms and conditions. So sorry, guys. You know, but all I need is some questions. You know, Kyle's getting a little like woozy over there with smoking that A. You know, because he's trying to power through that. He's about like a good 42 minutes from finishing. So all you got to do, ask Frankie Drinks, question for Kyle, question for Nick, question for Joey, and even Josh, you know, and you know,
Josh will
and
get
of
you
course,
to a 3. We'll get you to a 3.
Yeah, we gotta get to the 3.
I think Josh is like, I see the cheeks getting a little rosy like mine. So so either that's the heat or the Angel's envy. So ask Frankie Drinks. So I'm gonna take a little break right now because I've been talking for a while, and I've got an amazing video for you right now about the Dojo Dogma.
Hey everybody, this is Pedro Gomez from Drew Estate. This year, Drew Estate have collaborated with the guys from Cigar Dojo one more time. This time we are releasing the new Undercrown Sun-Grown Dojo Dogma. This cigar has a very complex spicy taste from the very beginning. But as soon as you're smoking the cigar down, the complexity starts to come up. The strength of this cigar goes from medium to full, all you could ever want from the Undercrown family. This amazing stogie is 5x54 back press with a beautiful red and gold band. This new release comes in 24-count bags. There is plenty of cigar for you to share or keep it to yourself. I won't even blame you. This is a nice limited edition cigar by Drew Estate. So grab them while they're hot at your local Drew Diplomat retailer store.
All right, so you know, little kudos to Pedro Gomez and that very sexy sun-grown video. So you guys listen. You guys got to go get this. And you know the party source is going to have it ASAP. So go get it. And we have our first, wait a second. We're supposed to be going into the Zoom lounge. You know what? I'm not going
at
to
his notes.
No, I'm not going
Look at your notes.
I am, because I'm getting directions from production. I'm like, go to the giveaway. I'm like,
Yeah, time to the questions. Let's do it.
you know what? I'm going to go to the questions, the giveaway, and then I'm going to go into the Zoom lounge. How about that? Try to stop
Not
me.
going anywhere.
Try to stop me. All right. So first, Drew, this can't be. Drew Boga Bogdanovs. All right. Kyle, this is for you.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
All right, so the first question is, where did the vanilla notes come from in the Angel's Envy?
Oh, wow. So do you want the layman's term or the really scientific one?
Let's go with the layman's because we know it has to do with the char, right?
So yes. So the barrel has wood sugar in it, basically. And when it is lit on fire and charred, they start to caramelize and break down those cellulose and the other wood compounds. One of those compounds is vanillin, which is a precursor to the vanilla aroma and flavor that you get. So the alcohol and the water, as it passes in out of the wood, is going to pick up that vanillin. It'll convert it to vanillic acid and different things. But long term, over the course of aging, it turns into the vanilla aroma and flavor that you typically would expect.
Beautiful. And the only thing I would add to that is for people to understand that when the distillate, when basically it goes into the barrel, the distillate kind of has an interaction with as it ages. It either subtracts, it adds, or it cleanses, right? So all that aspect is how you get that vanilla aspect to in the whiskey. It's not in the whiskey. it's the interaction with the barrel. So Drew, congratulations. You got yourself a Pappy Van Winkle Zycar cutter. And thanks to Kyle for helping us out with that answer. So next up is Greg Phillips. When pairing, do you prefer the complement or contrast method? So as I've said previously, you know, there is a contrast or reinforcement. Those are the two schools of thought that I go by. And either helps you achieve what's called the complement, you know, and I call that really simply, if you're adding bacon to a cheeseburger, you are reinforcing. If you're adding jelly to peanut butter, you are contrasting. They both create a complement. So it's basically a trial and error factor to find out how you come to a complement. In this case, Dogma, right off the bat, you get this great spicy note that starts to kick into your palate. So Smash is a great cocktail that's a complement for it because it brings out the fruit, it brings out some sweetness, a little bit of tartness, and keeps your mouth salivating. And that's what keeps it going. So I would call this a contrast pairing. You know, it's not a reinforcement pairing. And that's how you get to a compliment. So I hope that that answered your question, and congrats. Next up, I got Joe Cuellar or Quellar. When pairing, sticking, and when pairing, sticking, and sipping. So first of all, Joe, thank you for using the proper terminology. Do you drink first and then puff, or puff and then drink to get the best experience? The reality is that either or, Joe. First, it starts with if you want to pair to a whiskey, you need to understand the whiskey first. So you need to taste it to kind of get where you're at, and then you want to pair your cigar. If you're going to pair a cigar, then you want to smoke the cigar on its own, maybe a little club soda to keep on refreshing your palate, and then think about what spirit you think would work with it, and then from there you can go into cocktails. So it's like a layered effect, Joe. So great question. Congrats. You get your cutter. All right. Next up, Don Sullivan. What's your DE cigar of choice? Ask Kyle, and hashtag Ask Kyle. Man, they just cut me off on that one. They just like, fuck that guy. Ask Kyle. So Kyle, what is your DE cigar of choice?
So Josh so kindly sends me some cigars every now and then, and one of the things I usually request is the T52. So I'm definitely.
I do.
Josh sends me nothing.
You can pick it up yourself.
Yeah, he's only about 10 feet from the warehouse.
Relax, homie. No need to gang up. All right. So,
No, it's shit.
but actually, we Kyle, we've all been on a huge T52 kick because I think it's a cigar that's really I won't say underappreciated, but I don't think enough people have experienced it, and it's truly a magnificent experience. And I'm gonna go to Nick. Nick, man, this is your job, man. You're puffing on different things all the time, and I know you can't. It's hard to have a fallback, but like, what's your favorite right now for D?
Velvet Red.
Oh yeah.
I smoked one of those for the first time in a long time the other day, and I mean the term velvet is apropos. It is so freaking smooth. It is absolutely rich and delicious. I absolutely love that cigar. Now, if I'm
Good choice.
falling on a budget, I'm going to take it probably to the either the Corona Viva size of the Undercrown Maduro, or I'm going to go with Nica Rustica. That being said, I ain't mad at you if you give me a Factory Smokes Maduro. For the price point, those things are absolutely delicious.
For all you factory smoke guys out there, you heard it from the source. The Party Source.
Oh, I see what you did.
You heard it from the Party Source. That Factory Smoke Maduro. That's a money call. That's a great call. So thank you, Nick, on that. So next up, we got Jeff Brandom Jr. Congratulations, you got yourself a cutter. What notes do you pick up in the sun-grown Dogma that make it pair so well with whiskey? And do you feel the cocktail of choice is a perfect pairing for the cigar? Well, as I said earlier, you get that spice spike right off the bat. So having a little bit of fruit and sweetness in a cocktail kind of helps to pare that down. And then you add the citrus element of the cocktail. And anytime you introduce citrus, you got to play it kind of smart because citrus makes you salivate. The good part about salivation, I always advocate like highballs because you got like a lot of fluid and effervescence to clean your palate. Citrus and salivation make you do the same thing. It's your mouth cleaning out the palate. So it keeps you tasting that spice over and over again. If you do pick something that's intense in flavor, then I would say always have like a club soda on ice water to kind of clean your palate out. So it keeps the flavors going the entire way. All right. So congratulations. And last call. All right. So we have a gentleman on Fawn. Ask Kyle thoughts on the wharf in Miami. So I've never been to the wharf in Miami, but obviously Mr. Fawn has. So Kyle, what are your thoughts on it?
Let's see. When I guess I was down there in December. I think it was January before all this coronavirus crap. And we had an excellent dinner. It was I can't remember what was that place called, Jonathan? I don't remember what that was.
Le Chick. I think
Oh, that's right, Chick. That was really good.
In Wynwood on 4th Street.
Yeah, and then you were like, I'm out. You had a good night, so we left and we went to the wharf. And I'm up for anything. Part of my job is to go around and go to bars and talk to people and drink and do whatever. So we get to this wharf, and it's Prep Central. And
Prep Central.
Yeah, Prep Central. And
were they all FSU guys or?
Oh no. Yeah, definitely fans that never went there. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, you can't be a fan and have actually gone to the school. It's a rule.
Listen, half of Miami attends FSU, so relax, homie.
It's easy to get into, to be fair.
Wow, you know what? We're gonna have a sports edition of this show. Come the Miami FSU game. Kyle, you are welcome to join us. Nick, you are welcome to join us too, just so you can throw in some quips in there from the outside there. I love it.
I'm here for you.
Tampa Bay Rays fan, so he's.
I used to live in Sarasota.
We go to this bar, this wharf, and I think we get a beer or like a highball maybe, which is my favorite cocktail, by the way, a highball. It's the best. And so it was starting to drizzle, so everybody's packed into the cover, but they have a big open area as well. So the rain stopped, we walk outside, and we're sitting having a drink, and I guess one of On's friends or something was having a birthday party, so we said hello to them, and we walk into this group, and the group on the left of us sitting in these chairs, and there's a guy and a girl hunched over, kind of curled up in a ball, and they're not looking too well. And then the staff brings out a trash bag, and the girl and the guy share a big 55-gallon trash bag and throw up in it for 20 straight minutes. And we're sitting there laughing, like how often does this happen that they are thinking of
ready for it.
Trash bag?
And on behalf of hospitality, that truly is the high point of hospitality.
Above and beyond.
So we sat and laughed at that for a good 20 minutes, and it was, yeah.
So I want to thank On Fawn, wherever he is, for bringing up that lovely imagery during the Sticks and Sips episode 11 show. So with that, congratulations to all the whatever this thing is that I'm giving out, the Pappy Van Winkle cutter. We've gone beyond
Your
my.
PR people are gonna smack you.
I'm going beyond my contracted 55
I know,
minutes.
I know the sisters. They're not gonna be too happy either.
They're gonna be fucking pissed. That was the goat right
So
there.
she's gonna slap me from here to Kentucky. So
His phone's ringing right now.
Yes, absolutely. So, but we've been giving these amazing cutters and amazing ashtrays over the last 11 weeks, and everybody loves these things. So congratulations to all the winners. I'm going to go now check into the Zoom lounge because I think I've been checking in already. So I'm going to start with Josh first. Josh, you awake, bro? What's going on?
Bring us to a 3, Josh.
A little bit. I
Man,
got
he
my
doesn't really have a
angels
big
and-
fancy light.
Yeah, that bottle
is well
started
lit.
out full. Yeah,
It's been worked over.
In more than one way.
What's up?
this is
That's
it.
it. Josh's segment is done.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.
Let's move on to a different segment.
Yeah, Kyle, show us the A. Show us the progress on the A.
I've got a couple inches off.
All right, there. That's what she said. So we'll move on. All right. So Nick, how you doing, brother? How's that year of the rat?
The year of the rat was delicious. I heard JD's going to send me like another 10 boxes, so that'd be great. I appreciate that.
That's not going to happen, but okay.
But no,
You got a
this
snarky
other
lunch.
time, I forgot how good this cigar was. I ain't gonna lie to you. That thing is fantastic. So I'm glad this happened, and for no other reason, because the 4 viewers, but for me to be able to try this cigar again, it's been fantastic. I appreciate it. Goes great with New Riff bourbon.
By the way, guys, New Riff, give it a go. If you don't know it, look it up. It's great. I love, 10 years ago, Angel's Envy was a new thing. And look at how amazing their products are, and glad to see New Riff come along and really make some inroads, and Nick, thank you for mentioning, the Sun Grown, because I think that's a brand that people they need to get to know.
Oh,
and so for the other 4 viewers that are watching, get to know Sun Grown, get to know it.
It's to everybody that comes in my door tomorrow, I guarantee it.
All right. So Joey, brother, bro, I wish I had some mezcal right now, just because
I know you do.
Because
I have it.
I'm squeezed in 55 minutes, and I'm at the 75-minute mark here, bro. I try every week to get this into 55 minutes, and
Ain't gonna happen.
This doesn't work out.
Ain't gonna happen.
There he goes. He's taking a shot right from the bottle. There he goes.
Why you put it in a glass, JD, man?
JD, just go, bro.
Just chug
go. Just hit it from the.
I was giving it a whiff, man.
You're smelling it with your mouth. Oh, okay. All right.
Just when you go into a cigar shop and you see that dude he's smelling a cigar, and he's just like, you're like, oh my god, that guy loves his cigars. Say, what's up, sir? And then you take a closer look, and that motherfucker is sniffing a goddamn cellophane. I'm like, yo, listen, man, I've been doing this shit for a minute. What are you sniff? How does first it's like, oh, how does it smell? Oh man, it's like squash and all sorts of shit. You are smelling fucking cellophane, bro.
Cellophane, Chinese, 2016, Guangzhou factory.
Ooh, the polymers, man. You smell the polymers.
The polymers.
Yo, Joey Drew.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for laughing at that, man. I was like, I tried, dude. It's like,
the PR.
All I know is JD. 13A is the aisle. 13A.
13A is the aisle.
That's what we got to hit.
Nick, how many marks of mezcal do you have? Because if I hear the right number,
we're hungry.
Yeah.
Well, now in all fairness, I'm in aisle 14, so I don't have a direct visual on that. But if I had to guess, facings wise, with all the different, I don't know, 60, 70, maybe 100. I don't know.
That's good enough. Good enough.
Do you ship?
I guarantee you we'll find something.
if you ship us across state lines, I could be a very big customer.
Unfortunately, that is illegal, sir.
Oh.
And I will not be party to such things. Give me a call, whatever, we'll work it out.
All right, Joey, Mezcal minute, bro, because we're talking Mezcal. So what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking the Real Minero. I'm drinking it's an
Which
Espadín and Baril kind of ensemble.
Okay.
Super duper
How
delicious.
is it?
And actually with the sun grown, that's my go-to for mezcal, are sun growns. It just is the magical pairing for me. It's just super delicious. You get that contrast, that spice and banging from the cigar, that really cool agave, juicy, gummy world of the rabbit hole that you go down. That's what I do. That's every night. You follow me on Instagram, you'll see pictures of it every single night. And
we do. He's
my liver, it's a tiny little raisin.
Yeah, exactly. It's right now he's but I will say this because Oaxaca is the home of mezcal. So we're saying a little prayer for everybody out there. Just went through that earthquake, and we hope everybody's good. And keep making that fantastic stuff. Joey enjoys it. He's probably represents a good 17.2% of the entire mezcal consumption in the United States, just by himself, on the patio.
But also at Pecan on a off day of the week when we have to stroll in.
JD's good for another 3.72%.
Yo, Kyle Henderson, have you ever? We're going to need to talk to the public relations manager after this, because this guy has said every single thing from the cutter through has been some kind of public fucking relations.
It's product placement all the way.
I didn't involve my PR people with this. I don't care. I'm just hanging out.
There you go.
Hey, fellas, I just had an idea. What if, once we're back to doing events, we have a Drew Estate with Jonathan Drew and Kyle Henderson party source event? And Josh, you can come too, as long as you keep it under a 3. But why don't we have some kind of, once Corona shut's done and we're back to some semblance of normalcy here, we should have that kind of event and just kick it off right. What do you think?
Oh,
Sign us up.
I'll be there.
Kyle knows what's up.
I'll be there. I'm going to be aisle 13A.
Right. Yeah. By the way, I just want to make a note that Nick cut me the fuck out of that shit right there. He's like, it's like Kyle and JD, Josh and Joey, and he said like, he's like, Frankie, you can broadcast from home.
Oh no, that's even better. Let's do a live stream the whole damn time. We'll get a DJ in there. We'll do it right.
We'll do it right. But I need an official invitation.
You are invited anytime, sir.
Because I've got these Pappy Van Winkle sidecar X1 cutters. I just want to be Carrie. Don't call me. Don't email me, man. These are amazing, and we give them out every show because we love you. So with that, so listen. This is the time of the show where I go like around the horn and say, anybody got some last thoughts, last words, last ideas?
I've got an hour left, so I don't know about last.
So, but so I'm going to start with you, Kyle, because you jumped in. So, listen, man, I first of all, I want to say to you, thank you for being part of Sticks and Sips. Episode 11, man, we've had we've been waiting a long time to have you on. You made us jump through a lot of PR hoops, a lot of cash payments that we had to send FedEx and to weird drop addresses and finally get you on.
He got paid.
Well, we can't. I cannot neither confirm nor deny, but we're glad you finally we're on because this is Drew Estate family and people need to know Angels Envy and Drew Estate. You guys go back with us and being part of Barn Smoker and being part of all those events with us and kind of growing along those same lines and watching Angels Envy come into the market for me as a spirits guy, watching the legacy of your grandfather and your dad come into the world of whiskey and really put their stamp on it in such a beautiful product. It's truly an honor to have you on this show and to get to know you guys on a personal level as well. So I want to say thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. And this was the year I was supposed to go to all of the barn smokers, and of course, coronavirus ends all of that. So
I'm blaming you for COVID-19. Just this is a Kyle Henderson thing. So no, but hey, next year we're coming back. We're coming back.
This guy has violated every public relations. Everything. The only thing I'll vouch for, Nick, yeah, I was a little, you invited Kyle and myself, but the whole Sip and Stick Zoom Lounge, I mean,
I invited myself.
but check it out. When Party Sauce does an event, it blows up. I gotta tell you, when he said a couple of 100 people were there, he's not joking. It was a couple of 100. It was a party. It was a crazy time. So, and I think that my man Nick, Nick.
Yes, sir.
You know Liga Dan?
Oh, Dano, absolutely.
Dano.
I saw him yesterday.
Reese Bennett.
Reese, Steve Dean, all those fellas, absolutely. My Cincy Tucky Drew crew.
That's the Cincy Tucky Drew crew. We want to give a massive shot. They're a big supporter of the Angels Envy. They live in Party Sauce. I mean, you talk about two guests on with us that gets a huge support from that crew right there. So you asked the question, Nick, and I'll tell you what, I'm due for a Party Sauce event.
Yes,
if my man Kyle can make it, it would be great we always do great events together. And we want to thank also Kyle and Angels Envy for Cigars for Warriors, what you guys do for the Barn Smoker event, which is our big 5-year event. I mean, 5 times a year event on all the barns, and Angels Envy brings all that booze and a lot of that, builds to a great time to raise money for Cigars for Warriors. We definitely have to support each other. Party Sauce, you take care of my homeboys, because if you ask the Cincinnati crew, that whole crew right there, Chris too, all of them, they been to Nicaragua like 7 times on cigar safaris throughout the years. And so we're deeply connected to the Party Sauce. Love it. It's a great spot, dude.
We appreciate everything you guys do.
And I appreciate, first of all, Nick, and again, another shout out to Mike Yaneza and Jeff Janelle, our guys from Drew State, keeping us connected. And Nick, thank you so much for being part of Sticks and Sips. Big episode 11, man. Doors always open for you, brother. Doors always open. But
I'm right here.
But I need a written invitation for the big Party Source event, though.
Shoot me the address. I'll put that in the mail tomorrow.
Yo, homeboy stiffed you.
Yeah. My invitation comes in a bottle that says mezcal.
Nice. Hey, let me say one thing. I don't care if you're doing business with me or not. Support your local brick and mortar cigar shop, especially in these times. Just go out there, forget Cigars International, forget all that. Go support the local guy. Go ahead. You got to pay $1 more a stick. Who gives a crap? Go in there, support the local guy, support the mom and pop shop that needs to pay their bills, that needs to put their kids through college, whatever it is. That's the people to support right now. We appreciate all the business. There's a whole lot of other shops out there that appreciate it too. So.
Well, Nick, I'm going to tell you this. First of all, I told you at the very beginning, it's a no hijack show, and you hijacked my parting message. But I will gladly forgive you, because that's a very powerful thing at this time. So I want to thank you, because that comes from our heart, from Drew Estate's heart, and obviously from your heart, that we need to support brick and mortar and all local.
Buying Drew Estate. Yes, that's right.
We're not self-serving, homie. Not self-serving. Yeah, exactly. And I would add one more little piece to that is please help out your hospitality, crew, because at this time, they're trying to get back on, and they're hurting, and they really do support everything we do. So help out your hospitality wherever you can. If you're going out, tip well. Do your part. Do your part. So with that, I haven't said goodbye to Josh yet. So Josh is over here.
Goodbye,
You know,
Josh.
Goodbye, Josh. So
And good riddance.
no, not at all. Not at all. Josh
I got
is
invited first.
so so Josh is my boy. Josh, parting thoughts, brother.
I just want to thank you for having me here. I don't know why you keep doing it, but I'm grateful for every time. I want to thank Kyle for, joining me in this debacle. My sentiments to all of you guys. Thank you for watching. Those are my parting words, but there were more than 10. So that counts as a 3.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, everyone noticed that behind him, it looks like he's wearing a gigantic crown.
Either that or a squid.
It's a 4-point crown, or he's being attacked by an octopus.
Yeah,
so one of the two things. So watch out, Josh. Josh, I always want to. I thank you for being here, man. Love you, brother. You bring the excitement to every Sticks and Sips you've been part of, man. After this, I need a downer. Because energy's so high level, brother. But nonetheless,
you're welcome. You're welcome.
By the way, for Drew Estate, he's an amazing brand manager. When you're talking about all these great products that are coming online and stuff, and what it takes to get them to you guys, that's the guy that makes it happen. So, big ups to Josh, my man Joey, bro. Let's go have some real funky ass mezcal that makes ceviche taste like.
It's good. Actually, you know what? On a different note, I'm just staring at the 2 bottles of Angel you got sitting there. And that just made me think of like when people say, oh, the difference between a 9 and a 52. And that's kind of representative right there in those 2 bourbons, with the 9 being the sherry cask and the 52 going with the rye. That's like the perfect avenue where you see it line up visually. It just hit me right now as I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, that's how you see them differently and how special they both are. And you need to go through both of them. And because, man, every time I've had that rye, the Angel's Envy rye is just, it's so ridiculous. And I know it's a pain to get sometimes, but when you see it, you just got to snatch that thing.
Right.
Don't wait. Just get it quickly.
And some guys are going to go like 9 and 52, and that's perfectly fine. But you could swap them as well, because they're going to work amazing. You're going to get like this refreshing part, fruity part of the palate that hits you with the T52 spice, and then you're going to hit this beauty of of butterscotch and creme brulee and vanillins that are going to hit you with the rye, and going to be a perfect pairing for a 9 as well. So perfect pairing, Joey. I couldn't have called it any better.
You didn't. That was all me.
That was
all me right here.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the last show Joey will be on. So with that,
thank you. Oh my God. All right. Every Wednesday night, Jesus.
He's gone. That's it.
All right, JD. Parting words, man. Parting thoughts, man. This is like, holy crap! It's 8:31.
Oh wow.
This guy's always talking the same shit.
He's speechless.
Constantly. So yeah, the thing that I've really been paying a lot of attention tonight, listening to the conversation and reading also a lot of the Facebook stuff going on. I just wanted to first of all shout out to everybody who are commenting funny comments. My dad just said fun show, JD. It signed off from Gary, but all the comments that are in there, all you guys, I've been reading almost everything, and really enjoy that aspect of it, Frank. I think that what you've done and your team, Jack and Joe, and is really cool. It's a great program. I think tonight was as good as usual. Always fun, even better tonight. It's great to see old friends. And Kyle, we're very proud of you. Watching you, I had wrote down some thoughts about things we've done together, and from trying the rye before pretty much anyone had tried it, drinking the full bottle of cask strength before pretty much anyone had tried it, looking to buy a condo 2 blocks from your distillery, which I was there when you got your distilleries before anybody saw it.
Remember that
Hearing,
guy with the trash?
huh?
Remember the guy with the trash wrapper?
Yeah, Kyle wanted to fist fight this guy. The guy threw some trash in front of his place. He went fucking ballistic. I'm there with my father. My dad's looking at me. Kyle's like, "You want to fight?" Screaming at the guy. The guy was doing the wrong shit, and Kyle let his ass have it. But the Rick House, when you got the Rick House, and other things, your grandfather, and even though I never got to meet him when he passed away, watching you, the way you honored him, and the way your family honors everybody in the industry, whoever we seem to talk about who make booze, you seem to not only know everything about them, but you speak about their brands as if they're your own, and you show everybody else respect of all the other distillers. And I think that takes a lot. I think that shows a lot about you and your confidence in your family and in the things that you do, and makes you realize that it's not you against anybody, because you're your own man, and your brands sell the way they do because people, they're part of your company. And that's something I think we really understand at Drew Estate. And so I just wanted to say, I have the tremendous, true, not just friendship, but respect for you and your family for what you do, and watching you glow and that emotion come out of you when I've brought many people to your distillery, including Josh and others, for their first tour, and watching you around the system and everything is impressive. And Nick, just to say to you, thanks for treating my people in Sinsatucky well. I called up about you. I had been asking Frank and these guys for months, and these marketing dudes on the call will attest to it, to get Party Sauce up in here. And thanks for joining us. It was cool to have Kyle and you together, 2 quality companies, and thanks for becoming a friend to the company. So, with that, Frank, I just want to say that the show continues to be good. It continues to make me laugh and have a fun time. Some of the shit that Nick said, I had to even document it on Facebook.
He's still on? He's still going? Man, this is a wrap up, man. What happened to the wrap up?
No one gives a shit. See you later.
All right. So with that, thank you so. Wow. We're going out with a fizzle. All right. So not with a bang, but with a fizzle. Not even a smash, because we're out of smash. We're going out with a fizzle. But nonetheless, I do want to thank you.
Fizzle my ass.
So last week we had Toothy Rapper. Now we have Fizzle Ass. So, all right. So with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you to JD. But there's a few people I want to thank. Not only our special guests, everybody in the Zoom lounge, but there's a lot of people that go into making this show. And I want to thank Jack Hayer for making this show possible, making sure that it went on at 7:00 as advertised. No catastrophic, equipment failures. This guy is the man. So give it up for Jack, our marketing team that helps put this together, Joe Grow, and everybody else out there getting us aligned, and guys like Mike Ineza and Jeff Chanel. Thank you. The entire Drew Estate family that's out there, our sales force, our factory, our warehouse, our executive team. Thank you for making Sticks and Sips possible and keeping us, getting those orders from guys like Nick early, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it because we want to make sure we get the good stuff out to you and to your customers. And with that, make sure you follow us so there's a follow. Drew Estate Cigar, Frankie Drinks. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I won't bombard your feed, but I will give you some really cool stuff that you can watch every week. And with that, I've got one last big announcement. The big 305 show comes on next week. So please tune in. My special guest, the king of the 305, king of 305. This isn't Pitbull, yo. This is you guys can't see this on the Zoom. So anyway, king of 305, Mr. Willie Herrera will be my special guest. And we've got all sorts of 305 lowlifes coming on board, going to be part of that show. If you don't know what the 305 is about, next week is the week you want to tune in, because we'll be featuring that Herrera Esteli coming from Miami. We got the king of 305, Willie Herrera. We got a cast of characters you won't believe. Not Josh, but everyone else will be amazing. And we are so excited. So tune in next week. With that, hang on. You got muted. Unmute yourself.
Yo, you didn't even, your homeboy Sergio is always going to bat for you. You didn't even fucking call him out, dude.
Okay, sir. I got Sergio in the Zoom. It was supposed to be a surprise. You let the cat out of the bag. All right, so Sergio's in there. For those of you who know Sergio, hiya Sergio. We got Drew Estate's David Torres in there. We may have a couple of like other, freaks and geeks coming on board. You guys want to tune in. Nick, you don't want to miss this episode. You're going to be like, how to ever get involved with these guys. And that's exactly what we want you to watch. Kyle, you too. We'll make you honorary 305 every time you roll down here to play the U. All right, so we love you, brother. Everybody in the Zoom lounge, thank you so much. Everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're out.
Hey everyone, this is Frankie Drinks. I'm the cigar and spirits pairing specialist for Drew Estate. I'm also the ambassador of the Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented line of cigars. It is an honor and privilege to represent Drew Estate Cigar Company. Through our rich and innovative history, we truly have created something for everyone's palate. Together, we will travel to different locations to experience cigar pairings with spirits, cocktails, beverages, and food. Along the way, we will explore a few locations, hang in a few bars, learn some history, and truly celebrate our lifestyle. Come join me as we embark on this journey of discovery. Cheers!